Welcome to Beatsource Tech. My name's Mojaxx, and as this is the final episode of the year, I thought we would take this chance to take a look back at some of the significant news and products from the DJ tech world in 2022. Then, towards the end of the episode, we're going to cast an eye forwards towards 2023. When it comes to big tech releases in 2022, it's been a fairly lean year. Thanks to a variety of global factors, a lot of product launches have been delayed and some just haven't happened. Take, for example, Reloop. They announced their Mixon 8 Pro at the NAMM show in June, and it still hasn't reached store shelves now at the end of the year. I did get a brief hands-on with it in October and was impressed, but I don't have a review unit yet. Newmark, who can usually be relied on to drop a number of new devices each year, only released the NS4FX, a mid-range controller, and their InMusic stablemates Rain released nothing at all. Before you mention the Rain 4 there in the comments, as exciting as that is, that doesn't count, as it's not due to be released until early 2023. Then on DJ, another InMusic brand released two new standalone units, the SC Live 4 and the SC Live 2. At the time of reviewing the 4, I did like it, but felt it was rather overpriced compared to their other devices. But I'm glad to say that very soon after, the company made a price correction, and it's now selling for $1,299 in the US, which I think makes it a much better value proposition. Judging by what I'm hearing from my friends in retail, it's selling very well at that price, and it deserves to. Even the juggernaut that is Pioneer DJ had a fairly conservative year for launches by their usual standards. The Rev 1 and Rev 7 made a huge splash at the start of the year, followed by the DDJ Flex 4 and Flex 6 GT in November. These releases mean their controller line is now well refreshed and at a very wide range of different price points, with only the DDJ 1000 price level looking a bit tired at this point. The DJM S11 and S7 are well within their expected life cycles, so I wasn't expecting a new high-end battle mixer from Pioneer DJ this year, but the DJM S5 was a nice surprise, offering a lot of their features at a sub-$800 price. This is not to say that the company weren't affected by global events like everyone else. You still basically can't buy CDJ 3000s for love nor money, and other products in their line come into stock fairly sporadically. But overall, the size of Pioneer DJ definitely seems to have helped them weather the storms a little better than some. Because it's not just been the big guns who've had issues getting supplies, either of finished products or the parts to build them. All year long I've heard real horror stories from manufacturers of all sizes who have been struggling with supply chain issues, and it's the smaller ones who I've felt for the most. Things do seem to have got better in the past couple of months, but I don't think that pain is going to be over for a while to come yet. Some smaller manufacturers have managed to get new products to market in 2022. The return of Ekla to the DJ world with their Warm 2 was a fantastic surprise, and it's a great mixer which is rapidly gaining fans in the rotary world. At the other end of the scale, Union Audio released their Orbit 6, which is both incredibly expensive and pretty exceptional when it comes to quality and sound. At this point, I'll also shout out Omnitronic. I fear they may have pushed the feature set a little too far with their TRM 422 this year, but I do appreciate them still making the effort to pump out decent, affordable rotaries. On that subject, rotary mixers do seem to be a market segment which is growing in popularity, which I'm very happy to see. I have a couple of very exciting new ones heading my way for review next year, including the Henderson Model X from Poland. So when it comes to hardware, yes, we've seen some great new kit, but not quite as much as we'd normally expect. But that means that innovations in DJ software have had more of a chance to shine, and they have been fairly numerous. When it comes to the big platforms, Serato got the biggest headlines thanks to the introduction of stems. Whilst they were actually kind of late to the party on that tech, they did implement it very well indeed, and there are simply a lot of DJs who weren't ever going to switch to anything else, and so were very happy to finally get stems on their platform of choice. As I explained in my recent video about the full release, they won over my initial skepticism, and I now use stems absolutely loads in my sets, a lot of the time in conjunction with MIDI mappable Silent Q, something else which came to Serato DJ Pro in 2022. Virtual DJ, having beaten Serato to having stems by quite some time, released their new 2023 version in November, which features their stems 2.0. These sound incredibly impressive, especially when it comes to vocals, where I'd say they are the best in the game right now. The only disappointment is that you need quite specific computer hardware to analyze those in real time, which might be too restrictive for a lot of their user base. Algorithm, the other early innovator of real-time stem separation in DJ software, didn't make any changes to their own stems this year, but their new DJ Pro 4.0 was packed full of other new features. Those included DVS control on both desktop and mobile, and a unique way of controlling their neural mix stems with special control vinyl. They also brought a new look to their desktop software and allow Serato users to use their existing crates. There was a lot in 4.0, and I'll be spending more time with it next year. Engine OS, which is the operating system which Denon DJ's standalone gear and the new Mark Mixstream Pro runs on, rolled out a few new features this year. Their engine lighting feature, which is basically onboard sound switch, now supports nano leaf lighting, and that works really well, and the latest 2.4 release, which just dropped, now allows full beat grid controls right on the hardware. This is a really nice addition for those using streaming music when performing without a computer, which remains something which Engine hardware is still unique in enabling. Which brings us to Pioneer DJ's record box, which has been fairly static this year. Apart from cloud analysis, which is a cool concept, their last big new feature was Cloud Direct Play in 2021. In this case, I'm confident we'll be seeing a fairly big new update soon in 2023, as it's clear that stems are rapidly becoming a required feature in DJ software and they don't have it yet. Plus, they have promised a new performance version of Rekordbox for mobile devices to work with the DDJ Flex 4, which I'm very excited to try. I must also give a mention to Traktor from Native Instruments. Yes, this has been another year of very little new actually coming from them, but this year there was a big difference. The company published a roadmap describing all of the new stuff, including stems, which they are working on. As I always say, I love Traktor and I'd love to see it really competing again, so this has inspired confidence in me, and I do believe they're going to deliver on what they've promised, although time, as always, will tell. On the subject of stems, I will point out that Native Instruments are now part of the same company as iZotope, who have been doing top quality stem separation for years, so the potential is there for them to have the best DJ stems yet. Fingers crossed. I do want to say something about this combo of a slow year for hardware and a bumper year for new software features. As much as this disappoints me in some ways, as a tech reviewer I love new gear and I feel sympathy for my friends in the industry who can't ship their stuff, in other ways I can't help but wonder if this might have actually been a good thing for DJs as a whole. The times in my DJ career when I've been most creative and on point have been the times when I was working with one particular setup constantly and really got to know my hardware and software inside out. So perhaps having a year when, due to a lack of releases and no stock of the gear which was released, DJs have been forced to step away from GAS or gear acquisition syndrome, might not have been such a bad thing, and it might have given us more time to get to know some of the new and existing features in our software. Don't get me wrong, I'm excited for what the next 12 months will bring, but that's a thought I've been having in recent weeks. Let me know how you feel about it in the comments below. Before we move on to look at next year, I would like to call back to something I said in the first ever episode of Beatsource Tech all the way back in January. At the end of my DDJ Rev 7 review, I said this.
It is an absolutely top-notch piece of kit. I cannot recommend it enough, and honestly, if there is another product comes out before the end of the year that tops this as the best product of the year, I'll be pretty surprised by that.
Now, I had that unit for quite a few weeks and I was loving it, but then it went back, and it wasn't until October that I got hands-on with one again, doing some Beatsource demos. It was then that I started hassling Pioneer DJ to loan me one of their artist demo units over the winter, because I was reminded that yes, the Rev 7 absolutely rocks. I stand by everything I said in my initial review, from the awesome effects to the superb moving platters, it's all just completely on point. And it takes a beating too. The unit which I'm borrowing now has been used and abused all year long by various different DJs, and it works just as well now as it did when it came out of the box. There have been some other very impressive releases from competitors and from Pioneer DJ themselves since the Rev 7 dropped, but it remains my product of the year. No question about it. So we turn to things which you'll be seeing on this series in 2023, and of course, the first thing to talk about is the Rain 4. It's the first piece of Serato hardware to be designed with their stems feature in mind, and the stem split feature is awesome. I'll be reserving my full judgment until it finally hits stores and I get hold of a retail unit, but I can already say it's really impressive. It's also really interesting to see Rain expanding their potential user base by going down the static jog wheel route, although they have assured us they definitely won't be overlooking their spinning platter loving fans in future. The 4 also has me wondering what other stem-specific hardware we'll be seeing from other brands too. I haven't seen anything yet, but I'm sure it will be coming. After dealing with supply chain hassles like everyone else, the new 2.0 line of lights from Ape Labs in Germany have finally started hitting stores in recent weeks. They have a bunch of upgrades in terms of design, and their accompanying app has had a full makeover. It even allows control of other DMX lights now. I've got a pack of the new Maxis on test and have been using them over the holidays a lot, so look out for that review coming soon. DJ Tech Tools released the newest additions to their Chroma cables line a few weeks back, but I didn't want to rush my review, as one of the main reasons for buying premium cables is for their durability, and that can't be tested overnight. The new RCAs have a lot of welcome tweaks compared to the older ones, and it's interesting to see them releasing a USB-C to C cable which supports laptop power delivery. I'm confident in saying that USB-C ports will start showing up on more and more DJ gear in 2023 in line with the wider tech industry, and whilst I know some people aren't fans, I personally welcome that. A quick one I'll mention, the Time Tosser. Made by Dutch company Alta Audio, it's been floating around for a while, but came to my attention thanks to a recommendation from Leo at DJ Stuff in France. It's a device which allows you to resequence audio on the fly, allowing you to create really unique sounds with any audio source. Review will be coming early next year once I've fully got my head around it. And so we get to my two big review projects for 2023, one of which I'm going to assign you some homework for. The first was inspired by my recent review of the Autophon Concorde Elite, a pricey but rather dope cartridge a few weeks back. As I went through the testing process, I decided that I wanted to really dig into as many of the DJ carts on the market as possible and try and come up with some kind of definitive recommendations for as many different types of DJ as I could. As luck would have it, at that point G-Co were ready to send me their latest releases, the Nude N44 stylus and two actual cartridges, the J44-7 and the new Impact, designed in conjunction with Toshi Nakama, the former president of Vestax. They've been getting rave reviews from some DJs I really respect, so they were obviously at the top of my list. But there's more. I noticed that Juno here in the UK were selling some carts from a brand I was unfamiliar with, Chuden. They're another Japanese manufacturer who make both spherical and elliptical carts for DJs, so I sourced both of those too. And I even hit up Stanton, now part of the InMusic family, and had them send over some DS4 carts to test. It seems these probably have more in common with certain Newmark cartridges than with Stanton products of old, but they've impressed me so far and could well be a serious contender if you're on a budget. So over the coming months you will see a lot of cartridge reviews here on the channel. I'm going to try and get as scientific as I can, having ordered test vinyl and all that kind of stuff, so if there are any other types of carts you'd like to see me cover, drop a comment below. And finally we come to what has been the biggest change in my personal DJ setup in 2022. I have switched to using in-ear monitors or IEMs. After a few half-hearted attempts over the years, I finally persevered over the past few months and I'm now completely sold on the idea. There are many potential benefits to using IEMs over regular headphones. Firstly, their physical isolation properties can really protect your hearing, which is truly important. They also mean you aren't reliant on booth monitors, which in many booths can often be bad or even non-existent, and they allow you to monitor your blends in a really accurate fashion. So I've rounded up a selection of models at different price points, and I've been testing them all in recent weeks, switching between models during my gigs to really get to know what makes each one unique, and I can tell you now they are indeed all unique. There are two pairs from Shure, the most well-known brand in the category, with the affordable SE215s and the more premium SE535s, which are the choice of IEM poster boy James Hype. And I've also got two pairs from Mackie, again for varying budgets, with the MP240 and the higher-end MP460s. Those are all universal fit models which come with a variety of different tips to fit any ears. But there is another category of IEM too, which usually costs substantially more. Customs. So I'm also testing a pair from Ultimate Ears, for which I had to get impressions made at an audiologist so they could build a pair to fit my ears perfectly. All of this testing is going to take a while, so if you are interested in maybe trying out DJing with IEMs yourself, this is where I have some homework for you. The thing is, as much as I now love using them, for some DJs in-ear monitors will never quite be their thing. And there's no way to know which way you will feel until you really try it. And all of the ones I'm reviewing are over $100, and in some cases a very long way over $100. So if you are intrigued, I'd suggest you pick up some decent but very affordable Chinese consumer IEMs. They aren't great for DJing, I wouldn't recommend them as a long-term solution, but they also aren't terrible and will give you a chance to try out the concept without spending a big chunk of change, only to potentially find out it's just not for you. The two pairs which I got can be had for around $20 on Amazon. I got the KZ ZSN Pros from there, but I know some of you really don't like to support Amazon, so you could also consider buying from China directly via AliExpress. They'll take a bit longer to arrive, but can often be even cheaper. This pair of KZ EDX Pros, which I actually prefer over the other pair, somehow only cost me a grand total of about $3 shipped to my door, thanks to some kind of first-time buyer coupon. The only other thing you might need is a 3.5mm extension cable, as the cables on them aren't especially long. So that's your homework. If you're new to IEMs and would like to check them out, get a pair like that, give them a solid try at your gigs or on live streams, and then I'll break down the more purpose-built long-term options if you are convinced. And if you're already on the IEM train, as I am, hopefully I can introduce you to your next upgrade in the next few months. So there you go, a look back at the world of DJ tech in 2022 and a look forward to next year as well. In the comments this week, I'd love to hear your ideas for the direction of this series as we move into that new year. For example, are there any particular products you'd like to see me review here on the channel? Any product categories you'd like me to shine more of a light on? And as I do the Beatsource Basics series as well, are there any elements of DJ technique and performance which you would find useful if I was to cover on there? This is your chance to shape the future direction of this series, so please do sound off and make your voice heard in the comments below. For now though, this is the last episode of 2022, so I'd like to thank you for all of the views, shares, likes and comments that you've given over the past year, and on behalf of everyone at DJcity and Beatsource, I want to wish you a happy holidays and a safe and prosperous new year. I'll see you next time.